Fun fact, I recently played through a quick Age of Wonders campaign in the new update. I haven't had a ton of time to play around with such things, but yeah, Age of Wonders recently had an update where it basically adds like druidic factions more or less, and I definitely made a Malagor, the Dark Omen, Crow-based faction, because they also added goat people as well, but that's a different game. Here today, we're ready to see these Beastmen run on in from Sage. He's already Vanguard up pretty far forward with some of his troops there. We've got a line of Ungor Spearman Herd with smaller Ungor Spearman Herd and Ungor Raiders, a couple of Centaurs, and some Zangors as well for a little bit of a harder hitting back line. Some extra mobility as well as for the Dark Elves. Lots of infantry here. We're going to have a mix of Dread Spears, Bleak Swords up front with some Corsairs mixed in. There's also some Shades with Great Swords. Super interesting choice to take the Great Swords. I would think you'd want to just cheap out and take the regular Shades and then take like a Dark Rider or two to help protect them. But nonetheless, we do have some Harpies here, Regiment of Renown, for just such purpose. Some more Harpies over here when on the far side. The Dark Elf player has taken a very wide stance. I want to talk about the deployments real quick, whereas Sage here is formed up in a little bit more of a square formation. He's going to just assault forward and start to, whoop, as we fast forward a little bit there, kind of allocate his units out to attack various positions, but yeah, the width, it's going to work a little bit against the Dark Elf player here, and they're going to fall into a trap that I sometimes fall into, which is kind of forgetting about the units out on the flanks and the periphery, especially as Sage here just assaults straight up the middle, Butchers of Calgangard, and this Regiment Renowned Jabberslythe also looking to make some meat here as they charge on in. Nice burning head, cuts down one Ungor Raider, just straight up routes them off, and the Dark Elves counterattack hard with Blackguard Corsairs and various infantry, and it's just generally winning out against inferior Ungors as to be expected. We do see some Centaurs taking the flank up on the side there, see if the spears can respond in time, while the Jabberslythe and the Butchers of Calcangards charge straight up the center. Normally, Dark Elves, or infantry in general, I should say, would have a decent advantage trying to fight monsters in the woods. Beastmen, of course, largely bypass that, given they pretty much all have woodsmen, so they cannot suffer those forest penalties. Yeah, even the big Jabberslythe doesn't worry too much about fighting in the woods, but so far also managed to avoid the fire of the Shades. But let's see if that's about to change here as nice Flock of Doom goes off to damage Shades. Flock of Doom just so cost effective, hitting a couple of units here. Can do great damage over time, especially if you're spamming it, which Malagor is really designed to do in many ways right now, it seems like, from a multiplayer perspective. But yeah, Jabberslythe does take some fairly serious damage, and Shades are absolutely to be respected, especially up close when their scatter shots are hitting on 100% of their shots. They can do obscene damage, and a couple of units of Shades here just absolutely rip apart most of the Jabberslythe's HP. Haven't really talked much about the Dreadlord, but she's also here. Cheap Lord for the Dark Elves with Lord's Fire Sorceress. Of course, we've seen a couple of Burning Heads used to good effect so far. Let's see if they can keep that up, but yeah, that the Broodmother there definitely suffering pretty badly. The Centaur is charging in to try and bail them out. Maybe get after these Shades and actually deal some good damage to them. I mean, certainly the Broodmother's been dealing damage back to the Shades this whole time. Malagor also charging in, now gets charged by Nolosi. That is the Dreadlord, of course. Sword and Shield on the Cold One for some extra armor piercing, just in case of somebody like Kazrak, I guess. I don't know, even on horseback, I think she'd be pretty good. Or does she even still have the horse as an option for mount? I forget, to be honest. But, pretty sure she still does. But, yeah, I mean, it's pretty decent to have the AP here, and I guess the old one, I think, does have a little bit more armor. Again, more armor-piercing damage, some other benefits there. But, yeah, the Jabberslythe going to come back with about 300 HP if we take a look at the far side of the battlefield. Yeah, Zangor's just been fighting there against the infantry for some time. And this is, again, kind of part of the problem of taking such a wide stance. You can kind of put some units into tactical reserves, I like to say, as the Dark Elf player kind of prioritizing their macro, very understandably up here where a lot of their value units are. It's not the worst thing in the world to get a unit or two across the map, but in a close game, it can end up deciding things in a pretty big way. But let's zoom in close for Nolosi's moment of glory as she slays the Jabberslythe here in the sunshine and the snow. Also tries to get at Malagor, gets a good hit on him there, but he likely will be able to pop back up in the air. That said, Zangors and Ungor Spearman Herd slowly grinding things down. The Butchers of the Kalkengard have also just been owning this woods pretty much the entire time, and anything that crosses their path just gets torn to absolute shreds. Got a few tattered infantry kind of rallying to this position, but Nolosi definitely needs to be careful not to get surrounded by the Butchers of Kalkengard, and to that effect, they've a full unit of Dread Spears here, basically untouched. That if Nolosi would have cut up and around and try and rally with them, they'd be a really good support. I mean, she does have some spears here still as well, but like here, exactly what's happening to the Sorceress is the danger to Nolosi as well, getting surrounded by these high mass units, unable to escape, just getting crushed by the Minotaurs. Which the Kalkengard, of course, will regenerate. That fire will slow down their regeneration somewhat, but they still have plenty of healing cap space left, which is not good news for Dark Elves as they start to run out of steam a little bit here. Yeah, Nolosi right now needs to cut and run and get out of this situation, run towards these Dread Spears. But alas, she's staying for the fight, and very soon it's too late as she very quickly gets surrounded by heavy mass of bodies here for Beastmen, Centaurs, and Zangors, and Minotaurs, and all the ores. Just in for a paddling, as they say. Yes, paddling away indeed. Malagor also just flying over, trying to get that something wicked. This way comes leadership debuff, also giving his own troops that icons of vilification buff. Yes, tiny little enemy leadership debuff. Big, friendly leadership buff. As it is meant to be, I guess. But yeah, Dread Spears arrived just a few seconds too late to the party to actually do anything helpful. Again, had Nolosi cut and run around to those Dread Spears, I don't know if the Dark Elves could have won. Things are looking pretty desperate for them, but certainly would have been a little bit closer, and perhaps there's a chance to get some good hits, get some good leadership attacks, maybe rout a few of these units. As it stands, though, Dark Elves suffering pretty badly in just a few sad, lonely Dread Spears. Nolosi does try and make an escape here, but yeah, getting tangled up once again. Malagor gonna land with a splash there. Dread Spears get in there, but very quickly are gonna get terrified away, and that will be game. So another nice one from Sage. Big thanks to him for sending that one in. It's interesting battle for sure. I'd love to see Nolosi come in, and even if she didn't get a ton of value, it's still nice to see her in play. Absolutely. I mean, the value really came in from the Shades, to be honest here. The rest of the infantry, I mean, they do okay. Maybe a little bit too much on the infantry side. Probably want a little bit more cavalry flexibility. Again, like, yet a little bit having the anti-infantry bonus for the Shades. There's a few mobile threats here that count as infantry, from harpies to dogs. And maybe having the dual hand weapons, there's an argument to be made, but even then, like, I definitely don't think it's worth the upgrades. You can definitely just downgrade these regular Shades and then take a couple of extra cavalry units. I think just straight up one cavalry unit or two, maybe. You make some other changes, but yeah, a little bit of Dark Riders goes a long way, trying to counteract some of those Centaurs, who definitely feasted some value here, for sure, as did the Butchers of Kalkengard, who basically had no response in the center. Definitely need to have something ready for them, whether it's a Soul Stealer or, you know, I definitely can leadership route them in the late game if it's if they're the last ones left, but still, definitely a decent build overall for Sage. Nice to see Malagor the Dark Omen come in and get some good value for himself as well. Spears here. I mean, they're basically just glorified roadblocks. I think technically this is a tournament rule break, but all you'd have to do is just option in a couple of regular Ungors, and it'd be totally fine, so it really doesn't matter that much at the end of the day. Certainly didn't affect the outcome of this battle very much, I don't think, but hey, there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.